Let's be honest, the silence messes with your head more than rejection ever could. When she doesn't text, doesn't chase, doesn't react the way you expected, your mind fills the gap with worst-case stories. You tell yourself she's not interested, that you misread everything, that you're invisible again. But here's the truth most men never hear from a woman's mouth. Attraction doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks like restraint, control, and distance that feels confusing on purpose. When a woman is truly thinking about you, she doesn't always rush toward you. Often she pulls back to observe how you move without her reassurance. Women are wired to watch patterns, not promises. She's not counting how many compliments you give her. She's studying how you show up when she goes quiet. That pause you feel, that space that makes your chest tighten, is where she gathers information about your emotional strength. If she didn't care, she wouldn't need space to think. Indifference is fast, disinterest is clean, but contemplation is slow and heavy. When a woman replays conversations in her head, she creates distance to hear her own intuition. She asks herself how you made her feel, not what you said. Did you feel safe, grounded, unpredictable in the right way? Or did you feel needy, rushed, easily shaken? Here's what men misunderstand. A woman thinking about you may delay replies, not because she forgot, but because she remembers too much. Your tone, your confidence, your hesitation. She's checking whether her attraction is leading her or whether you are. Women are deeply aware of emotional power. She's asking herself who holds it right now. And if you're constantly reaching, explaining, over-clarifying, you unknowingly answer that question for her. Attraction weakens when you remove mystery. A woman's desire grows in the space where curiosity can breathe. When you don't collapse under uncertainty, when you stay calm instead of chasing reassurance, you stand out from every man who begged for clarity too soon. This is where most men sabotage themselves. They treat uncertainty as danger instead of opportunity, but uncertainty is the testing ground. It's where she decides whether you're a man she can respect, not just desire. Respect is the foundation of lasting attraction, and it's built in moments when you don't know where you stand, yet you stand firm anyway. So if you feel her absence, don't panic. Don't assume rejection. Ask yourself a harder question. How are you showing up in the silence? Because that silence might not mean she's gone. It might mean she's paying closer attention than ever before. And this awareness is why emotional discipline matters more than clever lines. She feels your steadiness through timing, patience, and self-respect. Every hour you resist impulsive messages, you communicate confidence without words. Every moment you choose purpose over obsession, you deepen her curiosity. Silence, when handled correctly, becomes attraction's amplifier, not its enemy. It is the quiet signal that you trust yourself, and that trust is rare. Women notice rare things, and they protect them by thinking carefully before acting. That pause you fear may be the moment attraction decides to stay. Do not rush what is forming beneath the surface. Strength is patience, not noise. Remember this always, inside. What you need to understand is that women don't think in straight lines the way men do. When you're interested, you move toward clarity. You want answers, signals, confirmation. But when a woman is interested, her mind moves inward. She doesn't ask, "Does he like me?" She asks, "How does he affect me?" And that question takes time, emotional processing, and silence. When she's thinking about you, her behavior may seem inconsistent. One day she's warm, engaged, fully present. The next day she's distant, reserved, harder to read. That shift isn't confusion, it's evaluation. She's checking whether her attraction is emotional, physical, or something deeper that could disrupt her sense of control. Women don't fear attraction, they fear losing themselves inside it. So when she pulls back, it's often because you've entered her emotional space more than she expected. Your presence lingered, your words landed, your energy stayed with her longer than planned. That's not a sign of disinterest. That's a sign she's recalibrating. Here's a detail most men miss. A woman who isn't thinking about you doesn't change her rhythm. You don't affect her patterns. She replies when convenient, forgets when distracted, moves on easily. But when she's thinking about you, her rhythm breaks. She hesitates before replying. She rereads messages. She waits longer than usual, not to play games, but to feel grounded again. This is why overreacting in these moments costs men attraction. If you chase clarity while she's still processing emotion, you force her into a decision before she's ready. And when pressured, women choose safety, not desire. Safety looks like distance. Safety looks like polite disengagement. The man who wins here is not the one who demands answers, but the one who remains centered. When you don't push, when you don't collapse into anxiety, you allow her attraction to mature instead of panic. Desire grows best when it's allowed to stretch, not when it's cornered. Another quiet sign she's thinking about you is subtle monitoring. She may not reach out, but she notices when you post, when you change routine, when you pull back. Women are observers by nature. If she's tracking you without engaging, it's because she's deciding how much emotional access you deserve. And this is critical. A woman thinking about you is not asking, "How do I get him?" She's asking, "Is he stable enough to let in?" Your emotional consistency answers that question louder than any romantic gesture ever could. Men often believe attraction is built by intensity. But for women, attraction is sustained by emotional safety paired with strength. When you stay calm while she sorts through her feelings, you demonstrate both. You show that your value isn't dependent on her immediate validation. That alone separates you from most men she's known. So if her distance confuses you, don't label it rejection too quickly. Watch her patterns, not your fears. Ask yourself if she's disengaged or simply slowing down to think. There's a massive difference, and only men with emotional control can benefit from it. Remember, the man who can hold space without demanding certainty becomes unforgettable. Because he didn't just attract her attention, he earned her consideration. There's a moment most men never realize is happening. It's when a woman compares you to her past without telling you she's doing it. When she's thinking about you, she's quietly stacking your presence against memories of men who disappointed her, confused her, or made her feel unsafe emotionally. And in that comparison, you're either rising or revealing yourself. When she pulls back after a deep conversation, it's rarely because you said the wrong thing. It's because you said something right enough to matter. You touched a belief, a wound, or a desire she doesn't let just anyone near. That makes her cautious. Women protect what feels meaningful. They don't rush into it, they slow it down. This is why sudden seriousness can feel like distance. If she felt nothing, she'd keep things light and effortless. But when your presence triggers reflection, she creates space to regain control. Not because she's losing interest, but because she's feeling it grow. A woman thinking about you will often test without you noticing, not with manipulation, but with observation. She'll watch how you handle silence. She'll see if you become bitter, passive-aggressive, or needy. She'll notice whether your life keeps moving or stops the moment she steps back. These details shape her attraction far more than charm ever could. Here's something only a female perspective can tell you. Women feel responsible for the emotional environments they enter. If she senses that her attention destabilizes you, attraction weakens. But if she sees that her absence doesn't break you, curiosity intensifies. Stability is seductive because it promises peace. Another sign she's thinking about you is when she reappears casually, almost lightly after distance. A simple message, a neutral question. She's checking whether the door is still open without risking rejection. How you respond in that moment matters more than you realize. If you react with intensity, overwhelm, or emotional dumping, she retreats again. But if you stay warm, grounded, and unbothered, you signal emotional maturity. You show that connection with you doesn't come with pressure. That makes her feel safe enough to lean in again. Men often think attraction is proven by how much attention a woman gives. In reality, attraction is proven by how much emotional weight she assigns to your presence. If she's thinking, reflecting, and comparing, you're already occupying space in her mind. This is where patience becomes power. The men who win aren't the loudest or the most persistent. They're the ones who allow attraction to develop naturally without rushing to define it. They let curiosity do the work. And understand this clearly. A woman who is thinking about you is already emotionally involved, even if she hasn't acted yet. Thought precedes action. Reflection precedes commitment. Your job is not to force momentum, but to maintain self-respect while momentum builds on its own. So the next time you feel her pull back, don't assume you're losing ground. You may be standing exactly where attraction deepens. Stay composed, stay focused. Let her discover that thinking about you feels safe, intriguing, and worth exploring further. One of the most misunderstood truths about female psychology is this: a woman can be deeply interested in you and still appear emotionally distant. Not because she's cold, but because she's managing risk. Emotional connection, for women, carries consequences. History, memory, vulnerability. When she senses that you could matter, her instinct isn't to rush forward. It's to slow everything down. When she's thinking about you, she's not fantasizing the way men do. She's forecasting. She's imagining how you would handle conflict, pressure, boredom, stress. She's asking herself if being close to you would bring stability or chaos. And those questions don't get answered through romance. They get answered through observation over time. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. If you're hot one day and cold the next, if your mood shifts based on her responses, she notices. Emotional volatility signals risk, but when you show steady presence, calm reactions, and grounded confidence, you quietly move into a category very few men reach: the man who feels safe without being predictable. Another sign she's thinking about you is when she mirrors your emotional pace. If you slow down, she slows down. If you stay composed, she softens. Women subconsciously sync with emotional environments that feel balanced. If she didn't care, she wouldn't adjust at all. She may also ask indirect questions. Not about you, but around you, your schedule, your habits, your values. These aren't small talk, they're data points. She's assessing compatibility without exposing her interest too soon. Women rarely reveal curiosity directly when they're unsure how much power you hold emotionally. Here's where many men fail. They mistake her caution for lack of desire and respond by overperforming. More texts, more explanations, more availability. But attraction doesn't grow from effort alone. It grows from self-containment. When you give more than she's ready to receive, you create imbalance, and imbalance makes her retreat. A woman thinking about you wants to know that choosing you won't cost her peace. She's watching how you handle frustration, delay, and ambiguity. If you remain respectful and centered, she associates you with emotional safety. If you become reactive, you become another lesson she learns to avoid. There's also something subtle but powerful. When she's thinking about you, she defends you internally, even if she hasn't chosen you yet. If friends question you, she hesitates before agreeing. If doubts arise, she counters them quietly. This inner defense only happens when attraction has emotional weight, and that weight is earned, not demanded. It comes from how you carry yourself when nothing is guaranteed. The man who doesn't need to be chosen to remain whole becomes the man she feels safest choosing. So don't rush her process. Don't interpret caution as rejection. Attraction for women is not a spark that explodes. It's a fire that's carefully fed. And every time you respond with patience instead of pressure, you add fuel instead of extinguishing it. Your calm presence is doing more than you think. It's answering questions she hasn't asked out loud yet. And when those answers feel right, action follows naturally. By now, you should realize that when a woman is thinking about you, the evidence is rarely dramatic. It's quiet, internal, and easy to miss if you're only looking for obvious signs. The real shift happens inside her, and that's where your behavior either strengthens attraction or quietly kills it. One of the clearest indicators she's thinking about you is emotional restraint. If she were uninterested, she'd behave freely, say whatever, do whatever. But when she cares, she becomes measured. She chooses words carefully. She avoids saying things that might close a door she's not ready to shut. That caution is not distance. It's care without commitment yet. She may also create scenarios where you could disappoint her just to see if you do. Not traps, just moments. A delayed reply, a change of plan, a boundary. These moments aren't tests you pass by pleasing her. You pass by remaining emotionally regulated. Women trust men who don't crumble under small shifts. This is where masculine self-mastery becomes attractive. Not dominance, not control, but internal steadiness. When you don't personalize her fluctuations, you show emotional intelligence. You show that you understand women think in waves, not straight lines. Another sign she's thinking about you is when she remembers details without acknowledging it. A comment you made weeks ago, a preference you barely mentioned. These details surface naturally in conversation. Women don't store information about men they don't care about. Memory follows emotion. She may also create distance right before moving closer. This confuses men the most, but psychologically it's simple. Distance gives her clarity. Clarity allows commitment. The men who respect that rhythm benefit from it. The men who fight it lose. Here's a truth most men need to hear. Attraction is not maintained by proving your worth. It's maintained by living it. When you continue pursuing your purpose, friendships, and growth regardless of her pace, you become anchored. Anchored men feel safe to connect to. If she senses that your world shrinks when she's not fully present, she hesitates. No woman wants to feel like the center of a man's existence before choosing him. But when she sees that you're whole with or without her attention, she leans in willingly. A woman thinking about you is not looking for perfection. She's looking for predictability in character, not behavior. She wants to know that who you are today will be who you are under pressure tomorrow. That trust is built in small moments of restraint and respect. So stop trying to read every signal. Stop obsessing over timing. Focus instead on how you show up internally, calm, focused, self-respecting. Those qualities are felt, not explained. And when she finally moves toward you with certainty, it won't feel rushed or chaotic. It will feel natural, because attraction that grows through thought becomes connection that lasts. Stay patient, stay grounded. Let her thinking become her choosing. At the deepest level, when a woman is thinking about you, she is deciding who she becomes around you. That's the part no one tells men. Attraction isn't just about wanting you. It's about how being near you reshapes her emotional state. Calm or anxious, grounded or unsettled, open or guarded. And that decision carries weight because women live inside their emotional worlds every day. If she's thinking about you, she's replaying not just what you said, but how she felt afterward. Did she feel understood without being exposed? Desired without being pressured? Free without being ignored? These emotional impressions matter more than any outcome. They determine whether she moves closer or keeps distance. This is why the final mistake many men make is trying to force a conclusion. They push for labels, definitions, certainty. But attraction that's still forming collapses under pressure. A woman doesn't commit when she's convinced by words. She commits when her nervous system relaxes in your presence, when being with you feels like rest, not work. Here's the truth from a female perspective. When a woman thinks about you consistently, she is already emotionally invested, even if she hasn't admitted it yet. Thought is investment. Reflection is attachment in its early stage. Your role is not to accelerate it, but to remain the man she feels safe attaching to. If you've stayed steady, if you haven't chased reassurance, if you haven't punished her silence with coldness or guilt, then you've already done more than most men ever do. You've shown emotional leadership, and leadership is deeply attractive to women, even when they resist it at first. A woman who is thinking about you will eventually move toward you, not suddenly, not dramatically, but with clarity. And when she does, it will feel different than past experiences, less chaotic, less uncertain, more intentional, because she didn't rush into you. She chose you, and if she doesn't move forward, here's the part that still matters. You didn't lose yourself trying to be chosen. You didn't abandon your standards. You didn't collapse emotionally. That means you remain attractive, not just to her, but to the next woman who encounters your calm presence. The real win isn't convincing one woman to like you. The real win is becoming the kind of man women think about long after the conversation ends. The kind of man who feels stable, grounded, and self-directed. That energy stays with them, and it's rare. So here's the personal question I want you to answer honestly in the comments. When things feel uncertain, do you chase clarity, or do you stay centered in yourself? Write your answer below. I read them. If this message hits something real inside you, like the video. Subscribe for more truths most men never hear. And share this with a friend who needs to stop panicking in silence and start standing in strength.